Welcome to Beyond the Campfire, the Dead by Daylight podcast where we dive into the stories, secrets, and strategies behind the horrors and heroes within the fog. My name's Dogbomb, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host Lemon. Hello, Lemon.
Hi, Dogbomb. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm away this weekend, so I'm panicking a bit about packing and going away. But other than that, I'm feeling pretty chipper.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Yeah, what are you up to?
You can't go away now that 2 versus 8 are back. Isn't that poor planning?
I've got to go away at some point. I've played a lot of 2 versus 8, to be fair.
Oh, okay.
What have you been up to?
I've played a bit of 2 versus 8. That's sort of it. DBD, like, I've done other stuff, but 2 versus 8.
2 versus 8. Yeah, I've done quite a bit of 2 versus 8. I played some killer games as well with other creators, which has been kind of interesting. Not something I usually do, but yeah, that's been good. I've been enjoying playing with other people.
That's cool.
Do you remember your question from last week, Lemon?
Yes, what is the weirdest place you have ever fallen asleep?
The weirdest place you've ever fallen asleep. And mine was follow-up, which was, have you had any funny nightmares? Nightmares that you can talk about. We've had a bunch of responses. We had a response from last week's creator pick, which was Disco, who said, Dogbomb and Lemon, you legends. Thank you so much for the mentions. Really appreciate it and hope to be streaming again soon. Keep up the good work with the podcast, learning so much, especially about survivors. And they said, Lemon, I once fell asleep in Leeds train station. I've also fallen asleep in Leeds train station. That's funny, isn't it?
Oh my God, I have fallen asleep at Birmingham train station. Oh, okay. I'm not in the group. I got it.
It's not Leeds, is it? I missed the
Sorry.
last train home after a night out and fell asleep on the bench at the platform and then rudely awoken by security. Whoops.
Aw.
We had a comment from Shadow Lou, who I think is a new commenter, not met you before, so hello. This podcast is brilliant. Loving the law reading. I also love the law reading. Thank you, Shadow Lou.
Oh.
But for places I've slept, I remember falling asleep at one of my friends' houses in a therapist-like chair. The weirdest nightmare I had was once I had a dream of being at an underground train station with me waiting with my drumsticks in hand, tapping on the bench I was sitting on, and then suddenly an ostrich that had the face of Mr. Burns from The Simpsons had my drumsticks in his mouth, and I chased the ostrich around the station. And then they ended it with, it was a weird one. Yes, I think we sort of gathered that it was a weird one from the description. That does sound odd.
That sounds like the best one.
Kayla said, love your podcast. Look forward to it weekly. Thank you. I don't fall asleep real easily, so unless it's completely silent and dark, I'm awake. The only random place I fell asleep was on a ferry in the lobby. I've also fallen asleep on a ferry.
Me too. Both on purpose and not on purpose.
Yeah, same. My weirdest dream was actually fairly recently. I was at a random house with my mom, and we just had random bunches of cats coming in and out of the house. No clue where the cats came from. I still think the Mr. Burns ostrich is winning the weird.
Yeah, definitely.
Dream. We also had a comment from Kathy, which said, great episode again. Thank you, Kathy. I can't remember a weird nightmare other than I'm topless walking down work corridors. And for weird places to sleep, only on transport, but I have seen others sleep through a heavy rock gig before now. I have also fallen asleep at a heavy rock gig before.
How?
I just sleep. I'm partially deaf, which does help. You sleep through loud noises, but yeah.
Have you ever had dreams
so tired
about being naked at work?
No, I don't think so.
Me neither.
I very rarely have naked dreams. I have before, but I very rarely have them.
I feel like that is very Kathy. to dream.
It's very Kathy. It's still not as weird as the
No,
Mr. Burns
no,
ostrich, though. So
that
I think that one
that's the
wins the
best.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best. And that was all the comments on our question. What
What
is the?
is the weirdest place you have fallen asleep, Darkban?
Well, I tried to get in before you, Lemon.
I could feel that.
The weirdest place I've ever fallen asleep is probably in a bush. I fell asleep
Okay.
in a bush after I played a punk gig once, and I got woken up, and then the people who woke me up said, "Are you that guy in that band?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, that's me. Pleased to
Wow.
meet you." How about you, Lemon? What's the weirdest place you've fallen asleep?
Well, first of all, I can fall asleep anywhere. Anywhere I feel safe, I can pass out.
Mm-hmm.
So train station, buses, ferry, like all of them. Never slept
Mm-hmm.
in a bush though. But my weirdest place, it's kind of a longer story. But one day, very drunk, me and my bestie, I was living in Copenhagen at this point, we decided to go to 7-Eleven.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were the only place that was open, but also one of the few places at the time where you could get pick and mix. So, my friend, her name is Dorte, she was like, "Oh, I need to show you a trick." Back then, pick and mix was in paper bags. Now they all in plastic bags here, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So she wanted to show me that you could tear the paper bag in half, and then you didn't have to pay for half the bag.
Okay. Yeah, I'm confused. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, those loads of grams, a half a bag weigh. Yeah, you get it. So, after tearing loads of bags apart, because we needed the right size, we could feel the eyes of the person working there, like, what the fuck are they doing? But never mind, we got our pick and mix, we left, and then apparently we went to my place. I was living on the fifth floor, no elevators, no one above me.
Mm.
Somehow, I woke up halfway out in the stairway thing where the stairs are
Mm-hmm.
and halfway inside my apartment. And somehow, and I only know this because it was my favorite sweets, had ended up in my bed inside the apartment. So I'm not sure how my pick and mix ended up in my bed, and I slept halfway in my apartment, halfway out in the by the
Mm-hmm.
stairs. But I think that's my weirdest.
So you tucked your pick and mix in to bed and did it
Yeah,
good night, and then you left it where you should have left the pick and mix, really.
yeah. But again, my head was inside my apartment, and my feet was out of the apartment. So it wasn't like I was thought I had fallen asleep on my way out. It was like it
Okay.
looked like I was on my way in, falling asleep on the.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's mine.
That is a strange place. I've just remembered while you were talking that I once fell asleep in Hull, which is a very weird place, and is even weirder that I didn't live there at the time. I remember going on a night out in a different city, and then I woke up in someone's bedroom in Hull.
And what?
That's
What?
there's no middle of that story. That is basically it. I went on a night out. Night out happened. I woke up in Hull. No middle of the story. What about your funniest nightmare? Do you have any funny nightmares?
Yeah, I once had a dream where me and another friend we decided that we wanted to go to Italy. So we found a car. I don't know where whose car it was. We got into the car and we started driving in real time. it
What the
So it
hell?
was just driving for hours and well until like snapped out of that dream. But I just remember we were driving so slow on the German motorway.
Wow.
What is your weirdest dream, nightmare?
Weirdest nightmare. I remember one from being a kid that has always kind of kept creeping back in my head. My first ever nightmare was Jaws.
Oh,
I remember watching Jaws as a kid. That wasn't particularly funny. That was me in a cot screaming. But I remember another one from around that time where I was a bowling ball and I was rolling about, and the lasting memory that I have is the bowling ball returning along the chute,
yeah?
and then it was just about to crash into the other bowling balls. You know how it does, like when it gets to the end.
Yeah.
And that's the point at which I woke up. And I remember like waking up in a cold sweat and
Oh
feeling a
my
bit dizzy.
god.
So yeah, I think that is my
That is
funniest nightmare.
weird.
We do have some comments on earlier podcasts as well. We had a comment from Benjamin, who I think is another new commenter. So hello, welcome, Benjamin, who's commented on our very first episode, Dwight, all the way back when, 20 episodes ago. And he's just commented, wait, wait, wait.
We are waiting.
That's a reference, I think, to Slate, who was our first ever content creator.
Oh.
Yeah. As a Slate aficionado, I think that's a reference to Slate. Correct me if I'm wrong, Benjamin, if you once you hear this episode, but I think that's a reference. And we also had another comment from Disco on an earlier pod. And we had asked about characters that they would like to see in the game, and they said from Dusk Till Dawn, the Tarantino Clooney characters as survivors, and Salma Hayek's Santanico Pandemonium with her snake as the killer, and a map based around the Titty Twister. If you've seen that, that's pretty cool. If you've not seen that, that makes no sense to you at all. There is a little bit of Dead by Daylight news this week. Not lots and lots. I think because they've just released the tome and 2 versus 8 is happening. There's not a great deal happening. I've got some personal news, and that is that the Hillbilly comic has arrived in my house.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I've not read it yet. I've had a quick glance, and I think it's just the lore that you discussed on the Hillbilly episode. But it's cool to have it, and it's cool to have it in comic book
It
form.
looks
So
so
that's
cool.
arrived. It does. It does. Um, in terms of news from Behavior, they are currently asking for contributions and stories for their 10th anniversary celebrations. And I think they're going to be publishing some of those or posting it on some kind of special video or something at the event. So if that's something you're interested in, get on their X profile is where I saw it, I think, and share your story with them. And the last piece of news is they've republished their May roadmap. And it looks the same. We've got a lot of outfits and things coming out, but there is a blurred image on the 22nd of May.
Oh?
There is a blurred image, and nobody knows what it is. And then the following week, there is a PTB. So the rumor mills begin now. What is happening
That's
on the
interesting.
22nd of May? That is interesting. We have no idea what this means. I've seen a lot of mentions of Jason from Friday the 13th being mentioned, but nobody has any real clue from what I've seen. And Behavior are playing their cards very close to their chest.
That will be exciting.
Mm.
The 22nd.
The 22nd. The following week is TwitchCon, which we will both be at.
Yes.
And so will Dead by Daylight. That is also on their roadmap. So that's very exciting.
Ooh.
But this week, it is the sleepless nights, the second winds, and the stubborn survival of Quentin Smith.
So this week, it's all about Quentin Smith. And if we have any Quentin fans out there, well, like you never know. Um,
We don't.
I, I know, but we might. I just want to apologize because this has been the toughest one so far. Because, well, I'll explain after if it's needed. But yeah, I'll get started. Um, so besides the Quentin fans, a lot of you might be thinking, who's Quentin? Well, he was introduced to Dead by Daylight together with Freddy in Chapter 6, A Nightmare on Elm Street in October 2017. So he and Freddy is from the 2010 remake. Quentin is not a main character of the movie or in Nancy's life. Nancy is the supposed main character with Freddy. He feels more like a supporting character to the supporting character. Like in the first 30 minutes of the movie, it seems like Kelly, who is a friend of Nancy, is the main character of the whole movie until she dies. But yeah. So I'm tempted to say Kelly is the main character and Nancy is the supporting character, and then we have Quentin, like the outcast. After watching the movie and skipping through it a third time, I still have a really hard time remembering too much about Quentin because he's not a hero. He's not strong. He's not confident. He's just awake. He's the guy who knows how to stay awake. Um, and that comes from him spending a lot of time in the library to study sleep and nightmares, and then use some medicine to stay awake. And there is a scene in the movie where he tries to get his prescription refilled, but he can't. And yeah, he even tries to offer Nancy some of his medicine. But Quentin is referred to as the 2010 version of Glenn from the original movie. But where Glenn is important for the story and the plot, it feels like in the 2010 version, it would have worked out fine without Quentin because he's just not that important. I'm so sorry, but that's the truth. In the law of Dead by Daylight, the entity feeds on emotions. We have fear, hope, desperation. And I guess Quentin fits into all of these. Fear, yes, from everything he has already been through. Hope, because he believes he can keep fighting, or at least in this case, keep staying awake. And desperation, because he never truly goes to rest. So for Quentin, his story becomes about trying to escape the dream to now where he is trapped in an endless nightmare. There is no waking up, there's no victory, it's just trial after trial. And even in Dead by Daylight, Quentin feels like he is a support survivor in the game. There is just no main character energy about him.
You've made all of the Quentin fan tear up now.
And I'm so sorry, but I did read that Nancy was the developers did not obtain the rights to the actress who portrayed the character, which confused me because Quentin doesn't look like the movie Quentin because they didn't have the rights to his looks.
Mm-hmm.
So why couldn't they have Nancy and just change her looks?
I have no idea. I was going to say the same thing on my part, Lemon. Yeah,
Oh,
they
sorry.
don't have No, no, it's fine. They don't have the rights
It
to Quentin's actor either.
Yeah, it would have made more sense that Nancy had been the character next to Freddy because Quentin is Quentin. He's the guy in the classroom you can't remember the name of. Like,
My only thinking is maybe because he is the guy who doesn't sleep, and they needed a direct foe to Freddy. Maybe that's the reason that Quentin's in the fog, so they can teach people how to stay awake against Freddy.
maybe.
Maybe he
But
planted
then
the alarm clocks all over the map.
Nancy was the only one who was brave enough to fall asleep on purpose.
Yeah, see, in the game, you don't want to fall asleep though, do you? You want to stay awake. That's
Yeah,
Quentin's job.
yeah.
Would you like to know a little bit more about him in game?
Yes.
In the world of Dead by Daylight, Quentin is all about dragging value out of situations that should already be lost. His perks focus on recovery, team support, and extending the match just a little bit longer than the killer wants. He's not the flashy one, he's not the fast one. He is a survivor who quietly keeps the game going. He has, I love my firsts. You know, I love my firsts. He has no firsts.
No firsts?
No
Oh
firsts.
my
I
god.
know. I know. He is the survivor with the least amount of cosmetics, which might be a reason why people don't play him. I know people like to play dress up in Dead by Daylight, and you simply can't with Quentin. He has his 3 prestige cosmetics and 3 additional cosmetic pieces when you buy his chapter. And that's it for Quentin. No more cosmetics. Um, Prior to his rework, he had the weirdest appearance. Did you see this, Lemon? Have you seen his gremlin appearance that they brought him into the game with?
Yes, and I also read that the actor retweeted how he did not like the appearance of Quentin.
Yeah, even though it wasn't particularly based on him, he said it
Yeah.
was a goblin version of himself. However, and this is mildly interesting, according to official statistics, he has the highest escape rate in Dead by Daylight amongst broad MMR brackets.
What?
Um, yeah, and they attribute this probably to his pick rate being quite small and
Yeah.
concentrated, um, and his perk Vigil, which I'll talk about later, being used efficiently in that case. So, I've alluded to one of his perks. Let's find out about all of them in alphabetical order. His first is Pharmacy. When you unlock a chest using Pharmacy, the unlocking speed is increased by 125%. The noises of the unlocking are reduced within 12 meters, and it guarantees an emergency med kit when you've unlocked the chest. This is all right, honestly, if you want to guarantee a early healing item from a chest, if you want to be self-sufficient, if you have a build that is built around getting items, but it simply just falls off after the first use. You've used it, and you've got your med kit. Now what? It is what it is. Get you a guaranteed med kit. His second perk is Vigil. Vigil allows you to recover 66% faster from most status effects. They are blindness, broken, exhausted, exposed, hemorrhage, hindered, mangled, and oblivious. You recover from those all 66% faster. It does also extend to all the survivors within 16 meters and lingers for 15 seconds. and you can only be affected by one instance. It does not stack. Vigil is very good. It's actually one of the strongest kind of synergy perks in the game. It's a really good support perk. It can help with a lot of exhaustion builds. So if you're running Sprint Burst, if you're running Lithe, if you're running Dead Hard, etc., you will get those back a lot quicker. And you will see a lot of Sprint Burst players will run Vigil alongside and be able to recover a lot faster. Or in a coordinated team, one person will have it, and they will play around that one person running Vigil. Very good perk. His third perk is Wake Up. Once all the generators are completed, Wake Up activates. And you can see the aura of all of the exit gate switches permanently within 128 meters. When you are working on the exit gate, your aura is shown to all of the other survivors while you're opening, and your gate opening speed is increased by 12.5% for every survivor still alive, which includes yourself, up to a maximum of 50%. So this is really good. If you get to endgame, obviously. You've got to get to endgame. But knowing where the exit gates are can be crucial. If you've ever played a game where you've lost sight of where the exit gates are, this helps that. And showing all of the other survivors where you are on the exit gate is also really crucial. If again you're playing as a coordinated team, it's good in solo queue. This one as well. And it can help you escape quickly if you are on the gate and everyone is still alive. It can help you a lot. This used to be slightly different in that the gate opening speed was a fixed level, and they've changed it so that it stacks for it's quicker the more people who are still alive, because people were running it as a solo player to escape quickly, and they wanted it to be a support perk rather than a solo perk, which makes sense, and it sort of leans into Quentin's lore a little bit, I guess. You know, he is a support character. This is what he does. And actually, looking at all three of his perks: pharmacy, medkit, vigil, recovery, and wake up, escape quicker as a team, they all very much lean into his lore. So maybe they made the right choice with Quentin.
I really don't think so.
If you are feeling inspired to play Quentin, here's some builds you might want to try. Maybe you want to play a support Quentin with Vigil, Sprint Burst, Kindred, Windows of Opportunity. Position yourself for good team support. Maybe you want to run a self-sufficient Quentin with Pharmacy, built to last, Sprint Burst, Resilience, and be an independent player. Or maybe you want to help in that end game by bringing Wake Up with Adrenaline, Hope, Sprint Burst, and escaping under pressured conditions. I think Quentin is a fairly beginner-friendly survivor. His perks are simple and useful. There's not really much to kind of worry about here. They just kind of work. Wake Up can be a little bit niche because it's end game, but Vigil is very strong. He's just not very flashy. He's not flashy. He's just a solid all round player. And I think Vigil in particular is a very strong perk, an underutilized perk as well. Any history or memories of Quentin's, Lemon?
Not the slightest. I'm so sorry, I have nothing. I wish I did, but do you?
Quentin's in particular, not really. I do see Vigil around a fair bit. I don't see Pharmacy very much, but I do see people running Vigil. I tend to see sort of better players than me running Vigil. I don't run any of his perks. I've tried them in the past, but none of them have stuck out as being particularly strong for me. Maybe I should try running Wake Up and running a big end game build um, with our Swoof, maybe, and
But
Vigil as well.
but then again, you are a main character in the game.
I am a bit of a
You are
main
not a
character.
supporting survivor.
That is true. That is
Like,
true. But speaking about main characters, every week we like to pick a creator recommendation from the world of Dead by Daylight, be it an artist or a streamer. And this week we have chosen Libby Rose. Libby Rose can be found on Twitch at Libby Rose underscore. And this is someone you found, isn't that right, Lemon?
they found us. They follow us on Instagram, and then I had
Oh,
to
yeah,
look at them.
yeah. Lemon is our socials queen, and Lemon said this new person has started following us, and we checked them out, and we like their vibe. They
Yeah,
are from North Wales. They are in their 30s, and it says on their profile that they are a professional button masher and full-time chaos gremlin, which sounds right up our street.
exactly.
And just this week, they celebrated their 10-year transiversary, so that's awesome as well.
That's
We do like,
amazing.
yeah, we do like to see all kinds of diversity in
And
our
s-
Dead by Daylight, so
and
that's
see it
awesome.
being celebrated. I
Yeah,
love that.
exactly. So let's all celebrate by going across to Libby Rose on Twitch, giving them a follow, and maybe you'll find your new favorite creator. All the
Indeed.
links, as always, in the show notes. A Lemon, who is next week's character?
Next week, we are going to talk about the killer, the pig
The pig.
from the Saw movies.
Yes, so
And to my movie buddies out there who listens to the podcast, we're not going to watch all the Saw movies. No, no, no,
are you,
no.
are you going to watch one of the Saw movies?
I don't think so. I watched them years ago, but I, I'm pretty sure that they are one of the few licensed character in the game that actually has a memory in the tome.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what I'm going to be looking at, and I'm excited just to look at a tome again.
Oh, brilliant. And it is giveaway time, Lemon.
Yes.
Ta-da! Insert ta-da sound effect here, I guess.
Ta-da! Oh, okay.
We'll just have yours. No, we'll just have yours. Ta-da! So, I have all of the names here in a spreadsheet, if it works. Yes, it does. I have all of the names here in a spreadsheet. I'm going to put them in a big old random picker, and it is going to pick one of the names from this list. I am going to share my window with you so you can see the name being
Ooh.
picked, and then you can announce the name.
Oh, there we go.
It is
Aw, it's Kate McCann's.
Kate, the lovely Kate. Congratulations, Kate.
And Kate wrote a
You.
comment on Instagram.
What was the question on Instagram? Do you remember?
It was just who's your favorite survivor and favorite killer. So they wrote Fengmen and the Legion as they are the survivor and killer I started with. And then a fire
Ah,
emoji because Kate McCann's is on fire.
well, congratulations, Kate. Kate McCann's, I think we know how to contact you outside of this, so we will be in contact and we will give you a link where you can claim your t shirt, which is the first in the world Beyond Campfire t shirt. They might never ever get produced. We don't know, but you are the first and only person to have a Beyond Campfire t shirt.
And I'm a little bit jealous.
Lemon's very jealous. We do have a website, beyondcampfire.com, where we have links to all the major podcast platforms and our socials, where we will post our questions and our queries every week. So keep your eyes on those socials. And if we have any more competitions, that's where they'll be posted. But we like to leave you with a listener question. Do you have a listener question this week, Lemon?
Are you a main character or a supportive character in your life?
Oh, deep. A deep question. My question is about chests in game. Mine's an in game question. Being honest with yourselves, how often do you actually open a chest in a game of Dead by Daylight? Simple, simple question.
Wow.
I know, I've gone with a simple one this week. And while everybody thinks about whether they are the main character in their own life, remember, play safe out there and don't get